they're going to call around, and they're in the same mindset of like, I'm just going to call around. And the only way, at least in my opinion, for New York City, I can't speak about any other metro, but the only difference is when people call around.
All right, we are live, and Dave Kittle's here with a huge victory.
That's right. I got my 2018 Eagles Super Bowl champion hat, and already with the Super Bowl championship Lombardi Trophy T-shirt, because my mom drove up yesterday to see the baby from South Jersey, and already got some Super Bowl champion gear from 2 days ago. Here we go.
I tell you what, though, I was rooting for the Eagles, but I felt bad. Two observations from that game. I felt bad. It was a beatdown, but I was super impressed, and maybe it's just because I'm a dad and I'm used to like crazy elementary school sports. Every single sporting event I go to for my kids from the ages of like 3rd grade to 8th grade, parents are crazy, kids are crazy, coaches are crazy. I thought the Chiefs handled themselves really well. Like, no matter how bad they got beat down, I felt like they never lost their composure. They never like started falling apart. I think, they look sad, but they held it together pretty well.
I mean, they've been there. They won the last 2 years in a row. So they were definitely in a spot where they weren't used to being like down, and then like things kept going bad, and they kept getting penalties and interceptions, and so interceptions, giving up points on offense, giving up points on defense. Yeah, but they're recently champions, right? So they hung in there, and they kind of fought back the way Tom Brady did with the Patriots, like in I forget the year, they were down like 20-3 against the Falcons, the Patriots. And then they came back and won the Super Bowl. So I think the Chiefs literally were thinking, it's not over yet. Like we're still going to come back, and we're still going to create, some miracle moment. So they were fighting. They were definitely resilient, I think, more than a lot of teams would have been.
Absolutely. So we've got a bunch of stuff on the list for today. I've been sharing a bunch of posts. I shared a post about a premium walker versus standard walker. We had the Ray Dalio video we could talk about. I think you had a couple of things. Where would you like to start?
Maybe the Ray Dalio thing. Are you able to share that video? You want to pull it out and share that on the screen? Because you tagged me on this on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and it was definitely a little tongue-in-cheek. Let me play it real quick. It's not very long.
Data comes in.
Back it up.
I computerized all of my decision-making. I have artificial intelligence decision-making. Data comes in. Criteria are specified. Orders get placed. Analysis is done. My decision-making is all programmed.
Okay, so real quick, and for those who don't know, Ray Dalio, biggest hedge fund in the world, super successful. He's 70. I didn't realize that. I mean, he looks great. And so he was saying data comes in, everything is systemized, and then decisions are made. Pretty much all hands off. Now, you said something that I thought was really interesting. I think you talked about, could we create an AI based on our decision-making algorithm that does something similar? Did you share that, or did somebody else say that?
Yeah, no, that was me in the comments. And at the end of maybe play like the last second or two, because he says something like that. You were saying that's how I am, which is like, I'm a smart guy and I'm going to make the decisions instead of like some AI or artificial or something. So maybe just play the ending.
Most people are still in, which is, I'm a smart guy and I will make my decisions. Okay. We are still.
So you tagged me and no, I mean, it makes sense. I actually, once the Super Bowl happened, just to tie that in, I don't know if you know this, but the quarterback for the Eagles, like we lost 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. Yeah. He's always poker face. Like we could be up, like we demolished the Commanders. We scored 50 points. Like people thought the Commanders were going to beat us in the NFC Championship game. We demolished the Commanders. He was poker face. Like he was demolishing the Chiefs, which were like, now they're like the dynasty team, and we're demolishing them in the Super Bowl. And he just poker face. Like he doesn't get too high on success and he doesn't get too low when 2 years ago he fumbles in the Super Bowl. The Chiefs pick the ball up, they run in for a touchdown. We lose the Super Bowl 2 years ago, almost, I mean, for multiple reasons, but almost because of the quarterback, Jalen Hurts. And now he was still poker faced. He did not smile until after the game, and he's hugging his wife and his family and all that. And so to tie the Ray Dalio thing in and to tie that into physical therapy and practice and physical therapy business and all marketing and all the practice management components is my takeaway from the Jalen Hurts and the Ray Dalio video is how can I right now be more systematic with the numbers and less emotional, right? So like I'm running Facebook ads, I'm running Google ads. I'm spending about anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a day right now, just on Google ads. So that is bonkers for most people. I'm trying to take the emotion out of it. And I'm looking at, like, I got 36 conversions through Google ads last week. Because I just got the email this morning from Google. I don't know why they send it on a Tuesday morning, but so I'm trying to be less emotional or try to like take away the emotion. So when you sent me the Ray Dalio video, that was my initial takeaway. Then it's like the Super Bowl. I'm like, I got to tie in my Eagles. We just won the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is kind of the NFL equivalent of Ray Dalio in the financial world. And all these guys are successful. Ray Dalio had the biggest hedge fund ever, Bridgewater Associates. So it's like, how can we, as physical therapy, as PTOT, SLP, practice owners, how can we take the emotion out of it? Like, especially with like investing money for a new program, a new device like SoftWave. Maybe it's spending a lot more on Facebook ads, Google ads, all that. So that's my takeaway. And that's kind of like my focus of this week, which is I just want to continue to look at the numbers. I go into Google ads. I'm managing a lot of it now. I didn't manage it before. Now I'm managing it. I'm going in and I'm marking things as negative keywords. Like when someone's searching JAG physical therapy, I'll mark that as a negative keyword. So anyway, I'm doing a lot of that and I'm trying to just focus on the numbers, looking at the returns, who's coming in from those ads, how much did they spend in the first, week or two? How much are they going to spend potentially in the next several months or years and get, recouping that investment of the ad dollars. So that's a long-winded intro. I just wanted to weave in the Eagles and Jalen Hurts somehow. So hopefully that makes sense.
No, I think first of all, you have to want to remove the emotion. I think most clinicians don't want to remove the emotion. I've shared publicly on here, I remove the emotion by getting fed up and getting felt like I'm taken advantage of. I get angry enough that it's not really removing the emotion, it's switching emotions to make those decisions. That's why I've said a million times, like therapists should not own physical therapy businesses. If I go and open a dry cleaning business, I have no emotional tie to it. I don't care if you get your cleaning done or not. It is completely separate from me. Therapists historically have been too emotional, but that's the difference between amateur and professional, right? I opened the show saying I was just at a 6th grade basketball game. The coach on the other team is screaming his head off. And at one point, I cracked up laughing because he said, all right, everybody take a deep breath. You're the one that needs to take a deep breath. I'm like, this is 6th grade basketball. Who cares? We have an expectation of professionalism in patient care. I think we need to bring that into business ownership. If the patient says that's too expensive, that's okay. If the patient says, I don't want it, that's okay. This is the price. And I was thinking on the way in today, Craig Lee is here. Remember that video that Craig and Steven sent us?
Craig was nice enough. He sent me a message somewhere, Facebook or LinkedIn, I forget where. He said, congrats to the Eagles. He's a big Kansas City Chiefs fan. So shout out to Craig. Thank you.
And Craig, if you missed it, I said I was totally blown away that the Chiefs never lost their composure as far as I could see. Like no matter how bad it got, no matter how frustrating it got, how many sacks, like they held it together and they kept pushing and they kept trying. That's amazing. I think that's a huge testament. I think it's harder because they won the last two to keep that composure now when you're losing the way they did. That being said, I was thinking on the way into work this morning, I was like, I heard another therapist, I think it was yesterday or the day before, say that he could raise his prices, double or triple the prices, but then clients would probably buy one, but then not buy follow-up, not buy the plan of care. And I was like, I don't see the problem. What is that? What that's telling me is you as a therapist would rather make less money and do more work because it's more important that you deliver more services even when you're losing money than identify what the client clearly sees as the highest value, which is the initial evaluation, establishing the plan of care. Instead of selling that for 500, you'd rather sell 18 visits for 150. Like, that's just mind-boggling to me. But that's a great example of somebody who's so passionate, wants so badly to just treat. They don't care if they're treating out of their own pocket. They don't care if they're taking money out of their kids' piggy bank in order to treat patients. That's what's more important to them.
I want to talk about this walker, and I want to tie it into some of the activity that I did yesterday, because I did some physician marketing, which I never do, never, ever, ever. And I got some, invites in months ago, so a couple of these concierge practices. But tell the audience about this walker, because it looks ultra sleek. I've never seen it before. I'm surprised actually that I haven't seen it since we're in this. I've seen that there's the other one. I forget the name. It's red. It's kind of similar. It's pricey like that. But this one, I don't know if you want to share this. Put it up on the screen.
Let me show you something first. I told you guys last week I would share the Facebook ad stuff that I'm doing. That's not what I want. Very different from Dave's experience so far. So this is a video ad running on Facebook. I don't understand how you even can spend that much money on your ads. The only real criteria I listed for this ad, it's running for about a week now. I've got $5 a day spending limit, but I never even get to $5 a day. I've spent $29. I've gotten 91 link clicks. These are link clicks that go from the Facebook ad to my website. Now, it's not optimized for conversions or anything like that. It's literally the most simple just to see if anybody's going to watch this. And I made it for three cities: Middletown, Trenton, and Monroe, like the three cities that I serve. And I did limit the age group to, I think it's 40-year-olds plus. I didn't limit income. I didn't limit household anything. I didn't do anything else. Like, the only limits I put on there, those three cities and 40-year-olds or older. I can't even get to spend the kind of money you're spending. But I did get 91 clicks. I don't know if I booked any appointments because I literally just got in before we started. So I haven't looked to see. Any comments on that Facebook stuff?
Well, I don't know specifically offhand how much I've been spending on Facebook. The dollar amounts I'm talking about is specifically Google ads, but on Facebook ads with Joseph Lowe that's running them, it's a way lower dollar amount. I think maybe in 2024, the first month or two or three, I think I spent like $1,000 total on meta ads, so Facebook and Instagram. That was before like the end of the year, like with the Christmas rush and all that, and Black Friday. I think it was turned off around then. So
okay,
I'm spending way more on Google and not so much on Facebook.
For context, that ad has reached 2,800 visitors. This is a screenshot real quick of the business page on Facebook. This is all organic. So 1 million organic views in the last 28 days. 3-second views were like 500,000. 1 minute views, 12,000. So there's a huge drop off there. But at least I'm getting some reach on that. But this is, unrestricted, just all organic from my reels on the Facebook business page. This was the conversation. So I said, look, Medicare, and I'll give you the context behind it real quick. Patient gets a knee replacement. Medicare will pay for this $30 walker, right? This was somebody, I asked them if I could take this picture of their walker. This was somebody at the basketball game that I was referencing earlier this morning. So this is a real person. This is the walker on Amazon, $680 for that walker, And so my point in this post, and for us to discuss, is, okay, so clearly Medicare says this is what I'm going to pay for the standard forward-wheeled walker. If you want more, you buy it, right? Like, why is that not applicable to therapists? If I have a new grad, amazing new grad, smart, funny, great kid, okay, he gets paid the Medicare allowed rate. But if I'm looking at people that are watching somebody like Craig with years of experience, decades of experience, advanced certifications, invested tens of thousands of dollars in being better than the entry level therapist, why would he not be at a 6 to 10 times multiple on what the basic new grad is going to be paid? What do you think?
Well, one thing is you're comparing a physical item, a physical product to a service, which that's the big challenge. That's the big difference. So you see a regular, they're sturdy. I was going to say dinky, but they're sturdy. There's $30, walkers that everyone gets discharged
it's
with.
Good enough to do the job.
It's good enough to do the job. It's safe enough. They're sturdy enough. They're fairly light. They break down. You throw them in the trunk. They're mobile. And then the difference of like the Cadillac of walkers, that $670 or $80 walker, I think that's easier because it looks way different. And of course, then the price, it's just visualization. Like any American that, like, regardless of reading level, they look at that and they're like, okay, that's obviously different than the $30 walker. But then when they're calling around for physical therapy, or they get referred by their physician, their surgeon after a knee replacement or whatever, and they're giving a list of, potential PT offices, they're going to call around, and they're in the same mindset of like, I'm just going to call around. And the only way, at least in my opinion, for New York City, I can't speak about any other metro, but the only difference is when people call around, the only difference is the phone call. And that's why we've stressed so much about the phone call on the front end, because that is how you differentiate. Because otherwise, a lot of consumers will call around and they don't know that there is a big spectrum of someone who is going to be a new grad who takes their Medicare and is their first knee replacement patient ever, versus Craig or you or me, and we've done it for years or decades, and that's when they'll be willing to pay out of pocket. I think comparing a physical product to a service, I think that's the big challenge.
So I agree generally. Most people are just blindly choosing the therapist. You have PT credential after your name, that's what I'm going to get. Right. And so this is where we then go into, okay, where can I find the differentiation? And I'm still blown away by how many therapists refuse to get on video, refuse to talk to people, refuse to get out there. They want to be paid a premium rate. They refuse to let people know why they deserve to be paid a premium rate. I think we've got an easy barrier to entry in that. So we know dry needling is not covered by any insurance policy, primarily not covered by Medicare, Blue Cross, most of the popular plans. So that would be a situation where you say, okay, the physical therapy, commodity physical therapy is covered by insurance. If you want dry needling, it's an $80 upcharge. If you want musculoskeletal ultrasound, it's an $80 upcharge. But I really think you could get to the point where if you did it properly, and I've been thinking about this a lot. So if I have somebody who has their OCS, now I don't have my OCS. I don't know what you gain by getting your OCS, but I'm going to assume you gain something. There's something tangible in there that you gain. Why would you give that away for the minimum rate of the minimum standard of care? If a therapist with two letters after his name can do straight leg raise for the Medicare compensation and satisfy the requirement, but you did the OCS, there's got to be some differentiation there. And if you can tease that apart and you say, I can do this, but it's not covered by insurance. If you only want what insurance pays, this is what you're going to get. I think the majority of people will take what the insurance pays, which is totally fine. I think that would drive therapists crazy because they invested thousands of dollars and years of their life to be certified through OCS, and they're going to find people who don't want it, who don't care about it. But that's just like me. I don't care about a new car. You could offer me a much more expensive, nicer, newer car. I don't value it. I don't care about it. It's not going to do anything. I want 4 wheels and a gas tank that gets me to work. That's all I care about.
That's it. It depends on the actual decision maker. So the patient, if they just want fairly straightforward, like low frills, good enough physical therapy, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. My parents have tried. I think my mom tried a few out of pocket home therapy visits because I knew someone through one of these Facebook groups or whatever. And I was like, oh, let's get you set up with my mom. But then she also, I think, maybe had 1 or 2 home Medicare Part B visits, and then also has gone and done a ton of outpatient Medicare Part B visits. So you're right. There's a ton of consumers out there. They're okay with just good enough. I think it's when you dig in and find out with some of those consumers, some of those patients, if they have more intense or bigger goals. They want to go travel Europe. They want to go do an Ironman or whatever the, scaled down equivalent. Like they want to go do a 5K in the future. They want to go and do things that are more advanced. That's where those more advanced physical therapists come in. And that's when they pay the bill. That the consumer pays that difference because they're focused on bigger things. They don't want just good enough. They want like the extra attention, the accountability. They want texting the therapist or emailing them in between visits. They want a remote therapy plan, maybe. So it's a different offering, and there's different offerings for different consumers.
I want to show you guys. I totally agree. That's why there's people who drive a Mercedes or a Ferrari, and there's me. Let me find the better. Okay. So clips from last night's the other day's Super Bowl. Let me unmute it real quick.
And right up the middle for a touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
The confetti just fell. You won the Super Bowl.
I never lost faith. I kept pushing. I kept working.
Look at what he's using.
Able to have the year.
Look at the play. She's got the new fit, the newbie by new fit.
We're holding up the trophy.
Do you know where
right up the middle for a touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
Dave, do you know where that's coming from?
The video is from New Fit, from Newbie.
Yeah, but this is, we know, Apex. Apex is here. I'm just going by the things
I can't hear you over the music. There we go.
From the videos that I'm seeing, she worked with him either directly or he was part of he went to Apex for physical therapy, for his rehab.
I know for sure. I saw a video of Saquon Barkley with the dude Garrett, the CEO of New Fit. I don't know if he was at Apex, if Saquon Barkley was at Apex, maybe. But I'm seeing more of this, by the way, which is companies and practices using video of a professional athlete or someone that has notoriety with some type of a modality or whatever. And they're taking a clip of that on the front end of the video for the hook and for attention. And then they edit their own practice people, their own therapists, their own, brick and mortar or whatever into the video. They're creating their own new video. I don't know. Like, I guess there's no rights to some of this stuff. And I guess it's maybe borderline free rights with some of the video sharing. I guess maybe if you tag Newbie and New Fit, then it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's done properly. And I can tell you from, my experience across social platforms, there's like green screen things that you can do within the app that allows you to make that kind of sharing happen. But Softwave, same thing. Softwave is out there. We've got Softwave in the clinic. We've got New Fit in the clinic. The reason why I'm not going with like this cheap generic $1,000 machine on Amazon is because of this, because I want the name recognition, the association. This was a webinar they did talking to Heather Linden, and she was talking about her work with the UFC. I then can piggyback on that notoriety to build and grow my reputation. And the whole idea, back to what we were saying, is there's ways that you can do this. But if you're not going to put the content out there, if you're not going to invest in the messaging and the communication, nobody is ever going to know what makes you different. So this is where I think we can easily say, hey, yeah, base physical therapy is a commodity at this point. But if you want something better, you want something more, you want to try something different. And that's why I'm tailoring my marketing message to people who are frustrated, who have already done physical therapy somewhere else, who didn't get the results that they need. They've already gone through insurance. They've already, had the surgery, and they're left with no alternative. Now I'm an option. That's the person that I want to talk to. That's the person that I want to target my message to.
Yeah, and I've seen some content from Matt Dr. Mataduro at Softwave, and he's treated Larry David, the guy that, him and Jerry Seinfeld made the show Seinfeld, and then Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. So Mataduro got a ton of folks that he's treated, like retired football players. I can't even remember who, but like a ton of retired football players, NFL football players that he's treated. Like he's done Softwave on their knee and probably has them sign some type of a waiver or whatever, like, free trial treatment if I can take pictures and videos of you getting this treatment or whatever. So yeah, I mean, some of that stuff, like that's kind of like influencer marketing, right? Like that's still alive and well. It's happening all the time with all the other brands.
Yeah, there's influencer marketing, which has been popular. There's user-generated content, which is even more popular now. So but forever, like I remember 20 years ago, you'd hear about companies sending clothing, sending shoes, sending all this stuff to celebrities, hoping that the celebrity wears it so that they then, get that image out in the public. Paparazzi will take a picture of Jennifer Lopez wearing something and then everybody wants to buy it. I still think that we can do something like that. Even today, I put out a handful of videos using like a flex bar, not the TheraBand branded flex bar. Those videos are okay. They're obviously salesy videos, but other videos where I use the same flex bar in a real patient intervention. In fact, I'll share one real quick. It's way more effective. I'm not mentioning the flex bar. I'm not trying to sell the flex bar, but people...
More effective meaning more views or what?
Yeah, more views, more engagement. And then people will actually ask me questions like, where can I get that? What is that thing you're using? My computer's frozen. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to try and pull that up because it froze my computer. But yeah, like product placement, all that kind of stuff. I think we're going to see a resurgence of that. I think it's going to get more popular again. John, the therapy man.
Yeah, I was just reading his comment.
The OCS, orthopedic clinical specialist, a prestigious certification earned by physical therapists who specialize in the diagnosis, treatment. Yeah, that doesn't tell me much, John. That's not going to sell a patient. I want things that are going to sell. I want things that patients are like, oh my gosh, I need to have that. Great example. I was listening to Hormozy on the way into work this morning. He was talking about price raising. And he said, look, I love to take huge price raises and test them, not 10%, 20%. I want to double or triple the price. That's what got me in the conversation of a therapist saying, well, I could sell a $500 evaluation, but nobody's going to pay $500 for follow-up care. And true, because the evaluation is the most valuable, most important. They can't get that anywhere else. And in my opinion, if you do a good evaluation, you can get a monkey to do the treatment. Anybody, anything can do the treatment. It's choosing the treatment that has the most value.
Do you think, in terms of pricing, like right now, are you still doing like the $500 Softwave offer? Is that kind of the ballpark where you're still at?
Yeah, and that's my own limitation. I feel comfortable with that. I feel like anybody in this demographic can afford that. It's not something that's going to put somebody out.
So the reason I was asking is because, do you think it would be better or worse if you were to say it's $500 for one Softwave treatment, and if you don't feel better or, significant or moderate improvement from the one session, a $500 session, then you actually get, as a bonus, a second visit, a third visit, a fourth visit, a fifth visit. So now it's like, it's a higher dollar amount for just the one, but you're minimizing risk and saying you can also try it up to like 5 times total every couple days, or, spaced out, or once a week, or whatever the protocol is. Do you think that would change? Like, that is not necessarily changing pricing, but you're front loading, saying the first visit and the first treatment is a little bit more valuable. There are some conditions, right? Like if you hit it with Shockwave, it might be mostly resolved, right? So like they might not need a second or third or fourth visit or session. Then those visits or sessions actually, maybe they could be used later as a credit, or they don't look as valuable, right? So have you tested or considered any of that?
Yeah, I love this conversation. Let's talk about this a little bit. I always talk to my kids, like, what do you think is the difference between 50% off or buying 2-for-1? Like, why would a company choose 50% off versus 2-for-1? What does the pricing model do to affect consumer behavior? Well, if I have a ton of inventory that I just need to unload, I'm going to do 2-for-1 because I want to get that inventory out of here. But if I'm, whatever, the price always has to elicit a response in the patient. We don't sell just the Shockwave or just the Newbie or just this or just that. Everything is layered on top of a plan of care. So if I did do $500 for one Shockwave treatment, I'm not incentivizing the return for the completed plan of care through the insurance reimbursement. And I do still want to have the rest of that. I still want that person in the clinic, and I want to build that relationship for other reasons. So part of the reason why I didn't go with something like that is that reason. Also, I still think, from a value consumer, if this person was a high-end, athlete or CEO, and they're like, I want this fixed as fast as possible. Okay, $500 single session, we're probably going to get you resolved in a session. Like, absolutely, that's the consumer for that. For the value consumer who's willing to pay the money, but they want to feel like they're getting more value, I think it's easier to say 4 weeks, come in as much as you want. We'll do this based on the protocol as much as you need. If you feel, the truth is, if they feel good, they just quit coming. Like I've still never met somebody who keeps coming just to come. Like it's still a nuisance to come to therapy. So everybody who starts to feel better, even if I sell them 10 by 3, they just quit coming. But I don't want them to think, oh, now you have 7 on credit. So I do based on weeks, 4-week protocol. I do a flat dollar amount that you pay up front. I am stepping back into the money back guarantee for a couple of things. The Facebook video mentions a money back guarantee. And the funniest thing, the most sweetest irony, I've got a guy, he's been coming for years. He can't get past 95 degrees of flexion, knee flexion. I said, you're not eligible for this offer because I would have to refund you because I can't, but my claim is 10 degrees in 4 weeks. I will get you 10 degrees more knee range of motion in 4 weeks. Or not only will I refund you your money back, I will refund your insurance company their money back. And I go on to say, because I believe there needs to be accountability in healthcare. I can mention why accountability is important.
I love this.
I shouldn't get paid if I make a promise and I don't deliver on that promise. That's the ad that I'm running right now. And a couple ideas behind that. Idea number 1, I know most people will do the 4 weeks. A lot of them aren't going to get the range of motion. Because I said, if you had a knee replacement 3 months or 3 years ago and you're still not getting the range of motion you need, come and see me. I said, I'm working with companies like SoftWave, NewFit, Biodex Rehab to create post-surgical protocols specifically for patients who haven't regained the range of motion they need to get off the commode or walk downstairs, forward, step over step. Those 2 things I've heard 1,000 times from my clients. So I'm using their language. I'm referencing companies that have that kind of visibility out there. I'm tying these things together and I'm saying, I'll refund your money. It's not about the money. It's about getting you an alternative solution because conventional therapy didn't work for you. And I mentioned that you probably had an x-ray and the x-ray looked totally normal because I know that's a trigger for a lot of patients sitting in that position. So I'm hitting all the hot buttons that I can hit. And I know that the reality is once somebody does 4 weeks thinking I'll get my money back, they're not going to want their money back because they're going to be vested at that point. That's enough time for me to build a relationship, to have the connection where they're going to stay. And if they are the kind of person who says, no, you put in all this work, I want my money back, that's fine. I don't want you in my clinic. You're not the right patient to be here. We've got somebody out there right now. We did multiple manipulations. He's had multiple rounds of therapy. He's still working his butt off every single time he comes in to try and increase range of motion. He won't quit. And I love it. And I'm not going to quit on him. So that's the culture that we're trying to foster.
I love it. And you are using part of the Alex Hormozi value equations, because in the value equation, on the numerator, the top part, one of the components is the likelihood of achieving the dream outcome. So in this case, the dream outcome would be someone who has a stiff knee after knee replacement, and they want more bending. They want more knee flexion. Your offer is saying 10 degrees or more in 4 weeks with this offer, with this treatment approach, this protocol. So the dream outcome is someone who wants to have more knee bending, typically, like you said, to get on and off of the commode, that type of sit to stands, maybe stair climbing, but definitely with dressing, bathing, toileting, all that. So that's the dream outcome, is so that they can be a little bit more independent. They can do those daily activity of daily living, those daily tasks, and feel like they're they're independent and they have integrity and all that. So that's what they want. That's the dream outcome. And then is the likelihood that that'll actually get achieved. They have not achieved it at the other physical therapy place, or they haven't achieved it on their own. Now they see your offer, your video. Hey, this is an offer. This is speaking to the potential dream outcome that I want, which is more knee bending, so I can do toileting and all that independent stuff. But what's the likelihood that it'll actually happen? But then when Tony in the offer says 10 degrees or more in 4 weeks or whatever, otherwise your money back, and I will not, bill your insurance or whatever, you're reversing risk. You're saying, hey, we believe in this so much, we're getting great outcomes, that you're only going to pay if you get this dream outcome. And if you don't get this dream outcome, or you are not satisfied, then you get your money back. So you're minimizing risk, or you're taking the risk away, other than they have to drive over to your clinic and schedule a time or whatever. But there's no dollar amount that they're going to lose if they find out, this didn't work for me, and this was all hype and I was lied to or whatever. So yeah, you're reversing risk. I love it.
I think some of the psychology behind it too is, if somebody is not even willing to put $500 on the line, they're probably not in the mindset to make any improvement anyway. You go back to like the readiness of change and those different stages. I want somebody who's already taking action. The easiest person, the most successful person, is the person who's already done the things that they need to do to be successful. We as clinicians have this tendency to want to help people that aren't ready to be helped. They're not ready for that change, and we're empathetic, and we see and we know how much we can impact them, but it's not the right time to put our efforts into that person. It's like, if I want somebody who's already working out and now come to me and I can help you work out better. I can't take somebody who despises exercise and turn them into somebody who's going to be passionate about exercise. This was an interesting one. Scott asked me about Goni. So I had spoken to, I think it's Shayla Rooney, years ago. She sent me one of their devices. I love the idea. I love, I was doing something very similar. I had created something similar. And I think the mechanics of the device, awesome. I have a hard time following other people's protocols. That's even in the kitchen. Even if I have a guaranteed recipe that I know works,
you're going to make your own. You're going to a little more salt, a little less sauce. You're going to do your own thing.
So like this, they have a very established protocol. They wanted me to follow their protocol. I cannot bring myself to follow their protocol. So I said, hey, this isn't going to work out. I think you guys are doing great. I wish you the best of luck. There are a couple of things, that just didn't fit for me, but I think they're amazing. I think there's 2 women involved in it. I'm fully supportive of what they're doing, and I love it. But yeah, I've known of them for a long time. Big claims, hot button, dream outcomes. Yeah, so like the psychology is, I even at one point in the video, I pop up a screenshot that said 25% of individuals, clinical research suggests 25% of patients who had a total knee replacement are not satisfied with the outcome. And I show the study that shows that stat. And I said they either have more pain or the same pain as before surgery. They don't have the range of motion they need to do the things that they want to do. I don't talk about my training. I don't talk about the features. I talk about the benefits. So that's an example of following a formula that's loose enough that allows me to bring my own interpretation to it. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm just saying that like these are the things that I try and experiment with. And just like earlier, I said therapists are more interested in treating patients than they are in making money. I'm more interested in experimenting and learning and doing things than I am in making money. So like I could hire Joey. Joey made me an offer this morning saying, hey, if you need any help on your Facebook ads, Joey Albritton. And I know he would do it a million times better than me. But like, this is fun. It's costing me money, but it's fun. It's a hobby of mine. It's something I enjoy. But I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that I'm doing it even at my own loss.
What's Joey's offer? He's going to run them for free so that he can say he's running ads for Tony Maritato, or you're going to like the whole site?
I mean, we've been friends forever. He, with rehab CEOs and all that stuff. I think he just hates to see me floundering out there making mistakes that waste money. But that's why I'm saying, like, I just like doing it. I enjoy the learning process and the experimentation of doing it. Plus, I feel like, I do my own plumbing, I do mow my own grass. Like, I still do a lot of things that I probably should hire out just because I'm like, what else would I do? I'd be sitting in a chair. I don't want to treat patients more. I treat enough patients. I'm in the clinic treating patients today. So this is my hobby.
So really quick, I want to go back to what you're saying about the data, the 25% of patients that are not satisfied after knee replacement. So when you put that up, or if you speak to that in an ad or a post or any type of video, the folks that are still having aches and pains, maybe they're having some, patellar pain or that fibular pain on the side of the leg after knee replacement, whatever it is. When they're seeing that ad, they're seeing you talk about that, or that you're putting some screenshot of a research article up or whatever on the ad or the video. And you just said something great, which is you're focusing more on that and not so much about like your, your continuing education courses, like your number of years treating and this and that. Like people gravitate to you speaking about their situation, like to them, so that someone sees that and they're like, that sounds like me. Like that's like I had a knee replacement and I still have aches and pains or whatever. And we know there's like multiple reasons why. But whatever the reason is, that person might see your ad, your video, and say, who is this guy? Total Therapy Solutions. They click in, they learn more. Tony Maritato. Like the fact that you're presenting it that way, and less about yourself, less about the normal physical therapist like brochure type ad of like, we do cupping, we do kinesiotape, we've been in business for 22 years, like we this, we that, like we have all these continuing education courses. When you're saying about like the 25% of patients who had the knee replacement that are not satisfied, and here's something that you're doing for that group of people, anyone that watches it, if they're in that group, they're like, this place understands me. They get me. They sound like they understand me. And so when people feel understood, they're more likely to lean in and convert and pursue that option without you even talking about courses, years of experience, features, benefits, all that. You're speaking right to that person, that consumer. And those are the things that get, ad clicks and video clicks and all that, and then convert into patients that want to pay out of pocket.
And this is where I think the difference between the push versus pull marketing. Push marketing, I'm going to convince you why you need to come see me. I'm the best. Pull is people are out there looking for answers, looking for solutions. They come across content. They either agree with it or disagree with it. It makes no difference to the content producer. And so, yeah, I want people that are already sold. I don't want to sell you. I don't want to convert you. I'm not at the volume that I need to have that hard sale. I have to see a fraction of a percent of the amount of people that want to see me to have the revenue I need to run a profitable business. I also said, and I don't know if you saw that post, I am getting a lot more inbound through Facebook Messenger and other inbound. Now TikTok, I'm getting messages from people who are like, hey, I've got this problem, and they're asking me through private message. So I went into ChatGPT. I took some of those inbound messages and I said, hey, these are the things that people are asking me for. This is the link to my clarity.fm account. Can you create a response that's generic enough that allows me to send this to just about anybody who's messaging me? And so that's what ChatGPT did. And now I get a inbound that says, hey, I've had a manipulation under anesthesia and I'm 6 months post-op and I don't know what to do. Copy paste. Here you go. And now I'm starting to book those paid calls again because people are willing to pay, because it's a 15-minute investment, $100 or $125, whatever it is. But it gives them that peace of mind. It gives them the answer and access to somebody who can, I'm not treating, I'm just giving you information and they're willing to pay, even though the information is free everywhere all over the internet.
But you understand that because you put out a ton of knee and total knee replacement type videos. Go ahead, you're doing unboxing. What is this?
Yeah, we're going to do an unboxing right now. So this was one of the inbound from TikTok, but it was from a product company. These guys, this is like a glove that has some sort of heating or cryotherapy. You can warm it or you can cool it, and then you put it over like an arthritic hand. So with Soft Wave, I've been doing some trigger finger issues, but my kids are like toward the end of basketball season. Everybody is jamming fingers. With New Fit, you can put their bucket in a bucket of water with the electrode, and you zap their whole hand. So I'm doing it for a bunch of sprained fingers, jammed fingers. This was something that I wanted to play around with too. So they sent me the free sample. I'll do a video. This thing's pretty cool. Feels thick.
Have your kids with the jam fingers? I saw the video maybe a week or two ago with you doing one of your sons had their hand in the bucket full of water with the newbie and all that. Did they give you any report of how they felt after the first time, or did they notice benefits and improvement of like range of motion or anything after doing it?
Yeah, so increase range of motion immediately. But I mean, we're doing range of motion in the water while the electricity is running. So is it the range of motion that increased is it the movement that increased range of motion? Was it the electricity? Was it the combination of the two? Did the direct current from the newbie reduce the pain, which allowed him to move? I don't know. There's 9 million things. I just purchased a foot bath. I'm going to be doing peripheral neuropathy treatments for patients using the New Fit, using the Soft Wave, and then putting them on the Biodex Rehab treadmill so that we can see how that works with the harness in place. Oh, this thing feels good.
So that would be something you could throw in the freezer for a cooling effect, and then for warming, you'd like microwave it, or what does it say?
That's what I'm thinking. So heating therapy, room temperature, microwave for 15 seconds. Make sure it's not too hot. I don't know how you do that. Don't heat it more than 45 seconds.
That sounds like it could be like the McDonald's coffee cup from 20 years ago when someone got burned.
Sure. Speaking of which, right here.
So be careful. Be careful.
So we eliminated moist heat because I didn't even want the liability of burning somebody. But for a time, the worst injury in the clinic was burns from moist heat. The second was falling
across the country in outpatient physical therapy practice. The number one lawsuit is burns from hot packs.
So I was like, you know what? To heck with that. It doesn't even do anything except it's the sensation of warmth. So I'm like, I'm done. I'm not doing moist heat anymore. We got rid of everything. But these are the elements of the patient care experience that make my genuine research-based decisions more impactful. I'm not going to take that away from patients who are eager to pay for it. So we'll see what happens with it. But we're closing the show. What are your parting thoughts?
Parting shots. I like when we discuss like options, like that the consumer has options. I think sometimes they don't realize it, but like we compared the walker, and you got the $30 walker that Medicare pays for, and It's free. And so, like you said, it's good enough, and it's going to be good for a lot of folks. Then, like some folks end up not even using it, and then they give it away to someone else, or they drop it off at some, DME company or something, some DME store, because they didn't use it and they want someone else to use it. It's still in the bag. It still has the tags on it. It is just fascinating, and it's fun to talk about the differences between that walker, the $30 walker, versus a $680 ultra light, whatever walker, and how it's for different consumers. It's not for everyone. It's for a certain subset of folks. There's a ton of those folks out there, not just in New York City where I am, but I truly believe everywhere. They just have to be given a reason why something is more dollars. They have to be given a reason why a service is more than the standard, than just the average. Otherwise, most consumers are going to default to whatever the product or the service is just good enough. So whether it's the $30 walker or it's the Medicare covered physical therapy, most people are going to just default to, just good enough, unless they feel understood by you, unless they call around and they call 5 places and you have the only phone call experience that stands out, where they say, wow, they get me, they understand me, and wow, that sounds different. And they were asking me about my goals and this and that, and they didn't rush me off the phone. That is how people end up spending a lot more time and money with us. And I just hope more and more people can do the same across the country, other therapists, other practice owners.
Yeah, I was thinking you triggered this memory for me. You and everybody here, you hear about therapists who are like, okay, well, I'm going to do the highest value service, which is the evaluation, the plan of care. And then I'm going to delegate out to a personal trainer if the patient doesn't want to pay the rate that they would need to pay for me to deliver service. Pretty typical scenario, right? I'm asking.
No, I don't think that's a normal scenario. What do you mean? You're meaning it could be, or that's what we do, or that's what a lot of practices do?
That's what I thought a lot of therapists, or okay, maybe more conventional would be the therapist does the plan of care, then discharges, and then the patient goes to a personal trainer, because a personal trainer is going to do the continuity and it's less expensive. Is that more reasonable?
Yes, I agree. Yes.
Okay. Let's revive that model, but do it in a way where if I was going to charge a $500 evaluation fee, which I think is totally reasonable, and the patient says, I can afford that one time, I can't afford that for 12 sessions because that's a plan of care, why wouldn't I just create a relationship with another in-network therapist, somebody at the hospital, somebody across the street at NovaCare, and be like, okay, I will do this evaluation. I will develop the plan of care. I've got a relationship with this person just down the road, across the street. They're going to do the follow-up care. Instead of referring out to a personal trainer or a yoga instructor or Pilates or anything else, refer to another therapist. A therapist that will just do what insurance pays them to do, not anything more. A therapist that's good enough to execute on the plan of care. Now, the conflict is going to be that therapist is a professional. I'm a professional. They might not want to follow my plan of care. That's why I said you just have to build a relationship. Like if you and I had a mutual patient, we have enough respect for each other that would be like, yeah, we can do that. No problem. What do you want us to do, Dave? We're going to carry it out for you. You would do the $500 evaluation plan of care. I would be obligated to do a second eval through insurance, but now all of my follow-up visits are billable to insurance, and this is the marriage, I think, within the profession that allows more advanced, more knowledgeable, more skillful therapists to elevate their fees, their rates, their income, operate at the highest level they can, but then still allow the client to utilize the insurance premiums and coverage that they've paid for.
I mean, I do a ton of referrals to like Fox Rehab and Luna. Like someone calls in, they're looking to use their Medicare Advantage plan or whatever. But I just do I just refer them on, but I don't have any relationship with like those therapists. Like I don't know any of them by name or anything, and they're not going to care about my notes and my evaluation. Like you're right. Like we might, or we don't even do the evaluation in some cases. Like we're literally sending them somewhere else because they're just not the right fit. I think there's some barriers there. Like that just takes my extra time maybe to do that handoff. I don't know, but I'm sure at the end of the day, like it makes sense to refer folks to whatever would be the best option for them that they're actually seeking, whether it's they want to pay more out of pocket with some cash practice, or they're looking for the covered service. And I mean, the thing is I think it's not always done if you're a cash out of network practice owner, because we're going to refer places to in-network, let's say like an in-network physical therapy practice buddy nearby. We don't ever get referrals from them because they have the in-network covered service, just good enough type patient, and they're never going to refer towards the more premium option. Otherwise, they would just do the premium option, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think it is to your benefit to have that as an option, to have the ability to say, hey, come to me, I'm the expert, I'll do the evaluation, develop the plan of care, establish everything, and then to help you save a little bit on the back end and utilize the services you've paid for. You've paid insurance premiums, you've worked a career, you've paid into the Medicare system. I'm going to recommend you go to these therapists for the follow-up care. Totally reasonable, totally acceptable, totally compliant. I just think it opens the door to somebody who wants to be just cash pay. Plus, it gets around a lot of other regulations and compliance issues that people don't often discuss. I want it to be on their radar. It is possible to work together with other in-network physical therapists in a way that benefit you, the patient, and the other therapist. All right. Jeremy jumped on. Wish I could get my friends to refer to concierge. I just think they just can't fathom somebody paying that kind of money to do what they can already do. It's just, but it's easier for you to refer to them. That's the thing.
Well, there's one Alex Hormozy joke about referring friends. Alex Hormozy would say, yeah, like you must not like, you hate your friends. Like it sounds like you don't like your friends because you don't, like, everyone else refers to their friends here, and it seems like you don't refer your friends here, so you must hate your friends, right? Like, but you have to have rapport with that patient, that client. You have to say it in a joking way. And I think Jeremy absolutely could do it. I'm sure he can.
All right, guys, we are done. Come back and see us Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Go check out the Dave Kittle Show. Subscribe. Check out Learn Medicare Billing and PT Pinecast. We will catch you guys, and go
Eagles Super Bowl champions. Unbelievable.
We'll see you guys next time.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE at CONCIERGE painrelief.com. Or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.